politics elsewhere, just getting involved in politics is intimidating. Cost per hectare, 2 minutes? Okay. I did use the 10 minutes. I'm sorry. Bottom line for me and the people that I've talked to in getting support for the petition, which has led to this, was just that. Increase voter participation, increase a sense of pride in your community, revitalize the communities, the individual communities, bring the cost down so that you can bring voter participation up and bring candidate participation up as well, and get involved. One other thing, it's conservative principle. Small government, local government. The closer we can get our elected officials to the people that actually elect them, the better off we are. To me, that's just a conservative principle across the board, something I believe in, and it's one of the reasons I got involved in this. Can I take more time since he left?
I don't know, we'll see. You got 1 minute.
Yeah, there's some more I'll get into. I guess I'll save that for my 5-minute rebuttal or any questions that you guys might have.
Now, your candidate was elected.
My candidate was elected.
Right.
I've since apologized for that. He's a good guy.
That was his cousin.
That's my cousin. He's a good guy. He's done a relatively good job. You know, one other thing, and I'll repeat this for Rudy. If you look at city council, they're elected at large. 98.5% of the time, 98.5% of the time, almost every time, they vote unanimously. Across the board, 7-0. There's no discussion. There's no discussion of ideas. There's no discussion of different points of view. It is statistically improbable that 7 people that many times on that many issues can come to the exact same conclusion.
Since Rudy's not in here, I'll ask.
He's back now.
Oh, he's back. Okay. All right, Rudy.
I got called time on.
That's right.
Well, I apologize for stepping away there. My wife's having a medical procedure. I told them it's routine, we believe, and I told them to call me if they had to, and I had a call from the doctor's office. They didn't have a call. I did. It scared me, so I got up. Has everybody seen this chart?
I don't understand. I see it.
What we're describing as a good thing is taking away my right to vote for all 6 Hickory council members and replace it with the opportunity to vote for just one. We're hearing that called a good thing. This isn't just about Hickory. This is about politics, and if it happens in Hickory, it may be tried in your municipality or government subdivision. I don't know all of the history, but I know that today we have the best system of electing our council members of any city in North Carolina. It's often said that Hickory's the only one that has this. Well, it's because for some reason Jillian Whitener and Orrin Klein and a few other people had the foresight to say the best way is to make you live in and be nominated by your ward and then be elected at large. That means everybody's got 6 council members. It means somebody, now don't be fooled by this stuff about how it's going to promote voter participation. Voter participation is going to go down, not the first year probably, but it's going to go down. It's going to go down dramatically. We're going to see council members elected with less than 300 votes in a city of 41,000. I don't want to see that. I think you've got to pass the vetting process and get a majority of the people across the city. Now, admittedly, sometimes that majority is not very big. Folks, if you ever, all of us have been involved in getting out the vote. Is it frustrating or what? What I want to do is get out the vote on this, because the people we talk to who say You're asking me to give up my right to vote for all 6, to vote for 1, and to take a chance that people are going to set my taxes from all across this city, who are going to decide which roads get paid, and I can't call and fuss at them and tell them I won't vote for them again? That's what this is about. Excuse me, that phone call bothered me a little bit, but it's okay. They were not going to call me unless they had to. What happened here was, first of all, Hank Guest got elected with the assistance of Mr. Brath. Secondly, we voted to close 2 swimming pools in economically disadvantaged areas. Now, we had previously closed one that was used by far more people out on Cool Park, and we have not been put through the ringer on it, okay? 50 kids a day, on average, were using those 2 pools. The cost to bring them to standard and operate them would be $1,200 to $1,500 a year per child. That's based on a 30-year amortization of the cost to build the pool. If you take that and multiply it times the 41,000 people in Hickory, you get a number. If you said, if we had an amenity worth that much money to every person in Hickory, it would cost us $48,000 a year or more. $48 million a year or more. Our total general fund budget is far less than that. The Hickory record, we're often called cronies. I don't have a crony. I've never been a crony, and I don't have any cronies. I am friends with some council members. Friends might be a loose term, okay? None of us are close friends. None of us are business associates. Some of us don't like each other. But yet we vote our conscience for the good of the people of Hickory, and because there's not been enough dissension, they want to say that this is clearly a bad system of government. Hickory people normally try to find a way to get to a middle ground. I'm scared of the scorched earth that we're looking at coming out of this election. I'm very afraid of that. There was a letter to the editor that talked about Republicans being involved in this, and we heard it today. 4 Republicans. One of them was Jay Adams, who spoke at the meeting when they brought the Democracy in North Carolina, and Joe said he has not decided whether he's for this or not. That's what he told us at that meeting. Tom and Joe were 2 others, and then the guy from Durham spent most of his time talking about how to register convicted felons. My role in this, some people are saying I'm unethical for being involved. I took on the unions, I took on the water battle, and I said, on my watch, they're not going to say that this happened. And I didn't stand up for it. Now, I could take the statesman role and sit back and say, democracy will out. Democracy will win this. Go at it, guys and gals. Y'all go out there and do it. But I live with my conscience the rest of my life. This is my watch, and I'm going to do everything I can to defeat this proposition. A lot of money and time is being spent on this. Some of the people said, well, council, you should have just said, we're going to change this system, and we're going to have this system right here. Why would we do that? A, we're opposed to it. B, the people we talk to are opposed to it. And C, there's a legally constituted referendum going to be held on this on September the 18th. Why should we step in and say, voters, we're going to take away your right to vote on this? If this happens, we're going to face we possibly will face other referendums. One referendum might be partisan elections. I don't know what happens in Catawba County if you had partisan elections by ward. Okay. Now I would talk to you about the benefits of having ward representation at the county level, but I'm not going to talk about ward representation in partisan elections, and I'm certainly not going to talk about it when we have a referendum here that's clearly being driven by liberal groups and a handful of Republicans. But it's being driven by the liberal groups. that petition was not going to make it. They were not going to have their 2,700 votes. And one of the parties got involved and made it happen. So, I got more time?
You got 1 minute.
Well, I just want to say this. I've talked very candidly to you. I've talked more candidly than I do in public. But I know this group. You need to know that we're headed towards scorched earth, and I'm worried about September the 19th. All we want to talk about is, do you want to give up your right to vote for all 6 and vote for just 1? Do you want to, if you have a council member who goes to your church, wouldn't you like for them to feel accountable to you? Or if it's your civic club or your country club or you work with? Under this system, you'd have one person, perhaps elected by 300 or fewer voters, and that would be your council person. And then there'd be somebody across town voting on things that affect you and priorities. The last thing I want to say is the signs that this group has put out. First of all, they're saying, say no to the elite. Okay, say no to the elite. That is classism. That is scary. The second part, no more $1 million tents. That's a blatant, outright untruth. Why in the world would you put something that's untrue next to say no to the elite if you are not trying to inflame? So, guys, I'm going to do everything I can to avoid the scorched earth. I encourage the other side to do the same. It may be too late. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rudy. 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
If you don't take all your time, I'm sure Rudy will take.
I'll address 2 things. First, your right to vote for six ward representatives. This election does not take away your right if it passes, because if you say you have a right now, because of the way the law is written, that you have a right to vote for all 6 ward representatives, and that I'm taking that away from you if this thing passes. My question back to you is this. In 1967, I live in Ward 5. In 1967, had I been alive, and this council voted the way they voted in 1967 to change the system, my right was taken away to keep you from Ward 2 voting in my ward. Okay? That's what the law says. The law says you vote for your ward, I vote for my ward. The city council took away my right. I'm not picking on anybody. It's not a right. Just because it's written in the law, it's not a right. Maybe Jay could expound on it. I won't throw you under the bus today. It's not a right. But that's the word they're using. It's not a right. If it is a right, then my right was taken away in 1967. It had been that way for 100 years. The City of Hickory elected council members by wards for 100 years. It's the way it was originally put into the charter. The second thing, here's the words we've heard so far today: scorched earth. I'm going to go back a little bit. And in letters to the editor, we've heard the word radical. I've been called a radical. Comments that I've made publicly have been called sinister. This is Rudy's Facebook page, right here. In it, he refers to people that will be elected as crackpots.